What up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, and this is the Woodward Pistons podcast. Listen, we got to talk about this NBA Paris game between the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons. I have some content coming with a young intern who used to be on this show. He used to make sure that everything was tidied up beforehand, but he's kind of climbed these ranks. Jeff Ifrady, we call him Mr. Everything. Rod, you have anything to say to him?
That was way back when. I mean, you knew people when they started out, when they were just getting stuff together, and now, I mean, you got to make an appointment to talk to him.
Yep. I think I hear his motorcade. It's still they keep it warm, like even while he's on the show.
That's his.
I guess those are winter privileges for him, man.
That's his entourage.
Yeah, Mike. I'm sure Mike is down there being awfully quiet, man. I feel like he gets that treatment too. But obviously, you guys see we got Pistons beat writer from the Detroit News, Mike Curtis, and for this drum roll, hey yo, welcome to the Legend Detroit News, Rod Beard. How are you doing? And Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Ready for this Paris game. I'm interested to see who comes out on top. Interested to see if like the travel is gonna wear on either team. But it's mid-season and I'm pushing along.
Now, I appreciate that. What I wanted to do, especially since I have you two on, especially your basketball acumen, what is the storyline? What are the storylines for the Detroit Pistons in Paris?
I think it's Killian and the idea that he's going to France, and a lot of his fans will, as many people that boo him at home games or whatever else because they didn't like the start to his career, he'll have a warm reception in Paris where people, I mean, it's a different atmosphere and a different vibe there, but I think he'll be warmly received when he's introduced.
Yeah. Clearly, Killian is going to be the number one draw, the number one story going back there. It's been awesome to see from his perspective exactly what's going on. You know, I've seen a couple interviews come out and he's talked about the fact that his grandma has never been able to see him play live, at least with the Pistons. So that, you know, those types of things, they really kind of hit home. I think it helps to put Killian on a totally different level with the fans as well, because he seems to be very, very, very guarded or very, very simple with his answers, with the press conferences at least. So seeing that perspective or that side of him, at least to me, it's been refreshing. And he's walking with a little bit more confidence, man, a little bit more swag these days. He looks sure of himself on the court and off the court. And, Mike, and any other storylines to you? You know, I know Killian is obviously the big one, but anything else that your mind has picked up?
Yeah, I'm wondering if Jalen Duren is going to play or if he's going to even be able to make the trip. It's been reported that he left his passport or lost his passport.
Come on, man.
That reminds me of Jeff from the summer, man.
I mean, he's the league's youngest player, so you can't do nothing but expect something like that. But I'm interested to see if he'll be available, and if he is, what type of game he'll have, especially since he's been out the last 4 games.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because I was looking up the stats. Since he's been out, the Pistons have or at least the first 5 games that he was out after starting, the Pistons rebounds per game dropped by like 7 or 8 per game. Like he's definitely missed. I know there are other bigs that are missed, but man, the teams that they've played have made a point to absolutely go to the middle and try to punish them. And it's been interesting to kind of see the cat and mouse, the way that Casey has tried to play it. You know, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does tomorrow because we've seen Hamidou Diallo playing 5, and he's not shy. Casey hasn't been shy about speaking up about that in the press conferences either. So yeah, Jalen Duren, that was a funny one, man. When I saw it, I know Woodward Sports they posted the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone picture. I was just like, come on, yo, you can't make this stuff up. And to be honest, to be fair, Jalen Duren did respond to the post, and all he did was put a cap. That's it. So we'll see. We'll see what's up, man. I want to see if he's going to make it there because I do believe he makes a tremendous difference on this squad. But, Mike, we have you on the show. I wanted to see if there's anything we can pry out of you, man. Any locker room stories, any practice stories, just anything Pistons culture that you think would be dope for the people to know.
It's funny. I think the last couple times we've been in the locker room, guys haven't been coming out. So I want to say the last thing I remember was, I can't even remember which loss it was after. It may have been after a win, but I asked both Jaden Ivey and Hamidou Diallo if they had been invited to participate in the slam dunk contest. I asked them off to the side, and Ivy pretty much looked at me with a smile and said, "No, I'm not doing it, even if they didn't ask, but I'm not doing it even if they did, because
Come on, young buck. Come on, man.
He's trying to preserve those legs, man. He had that knee injury or knee soreness after the Phoenix game that cost him a couple games, and I guess he's not trying to jeopardize it.
All right, that makes sense. I'll let that one slide then.
And then I asked Hamidou Diallo, and he hasn't. He said ever since he won with Oklahoma City in 2019, they've invited him every year, but he doesn't want to participate.
What? Did he give any reason why? Is he trying to like protect that crown or something?
I'm not sure, but he didn't. He didn't rule out a return. I'll just say that.
So here's the thing. I got some more on that too. In previous years, I've asked him the same thing, kind of off to the side, and his idea is he wants the slam dunk contest to get back to what it was, where you had an Aaron Gordon and a Zach LaVine. And so my gut is he would do it if it was those guys and him, or if they had like a former champions slam dunk contest. But when you just start inviting I won't even call them random people, but he feels like he's an elite level dunker on the maybe Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon level. And so he wants, my take is that it's not worth his time, in that he's a former champion and these other guys, he wants the stage to be where there's a bag as the prize. Like if they put in $1 million and said, hey, the winner gets $1 million, then he might be back in.
So but if it's you cooking with something, Rod,
if you say, and I think it would take something like that for Aaron Gordon to get back in too, is, hey, let's put $2-3 million and say, now let's go. Then you might get Gordon, you might get LaVine, you might get Hami, you might get some of these elite level guys to come back and do it. And it's an opportunity for younger guys to, and maybe that's a Jaden Ivey thing, is that he just didn't want to do it. But that's an opportunity for him to get out there and to get his name out there and people know who he is. Most people know, but the casual fan may not know who he is.
Yo, you know what? You just brought up a lot of good points. Mike, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, I was just going to say I also spoke to Alec Burks. He's 4th or 5th in 3-point percentage. Asked him if he's been invited to 3-point contest. He said he hasn't, and he wouldn't do it just because he doesn't want to do it.
Okay. All right. Well, look, if they wanted to go and the NBA wasn't asking them, then I'll have to get on here and do one of my soliloquies. But Mike, this is why we ask Mike. This is why we bring him on. So we can't just say that the NBA doesn't like Detroit. I've actually been pleased with their free throw numbers as of late. I'm sitting here looking at the numbers like, well, we can't use that as an excuse.
Can't use that one. That's not the problem. No. That ain't it.
That's definitely not it. But Rod, all right, look, you brought up something very, very interesting, because I know the NBA has been trying to inject new life into the All-Star weekend, and they've been doing different things to try and make that happen. But I think that what you just touched on as it relates to bringing back the old champions, letting these people, the past participants, even if they weren't champions, but they put up great fights, maybe like some of the guys who we think got robbed, bringing those guys back to face off. I believe that would create something amazing as it relates to All-Star weekend, because it would harken back to the moments that the fans of old remember. The fans that are just coming up, hey, they've seen these things in highlights. It would be a cool opportunity to see them actually do this or to reprise this again. And not just them alone, but have it concurrent with the current ones. So have your formers, have your currents, and I would set up 2 brackets. I would set up, me personally, me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But just as you were talking about it, it's like, you know what? I would watch that. I would tune in to watch Aaron Gordon and Levine and Hami and some of these past winners come back and try and put on a show. I think it would be awesome.
I think you could sponsor it, and if you said throw in a couple of sponsors, put 2, 3, 5 mil, whatever, and make it where, okay, if you're Hami and you're making, if that's almost a year's salary for you, then yeah, okay, now I'm really about this. And to get Zach LaVine back into it, it might take something like that. And I've thought of some different things. You can't do a bracket style because then it's too many dunks that guys are doing. Because in a bracket, what are you doing? What are you doing? 2 or 3 dunks in that first round, and then you got another round and another round and another round. So if you got 8 guys who are doing it, then how many dunks is the winner going to end up doing? 15, 20?
True that.
That starts to be too many, especially if you're a guy who might be playing in the All-Star game, like a Levine potentially, or somebody like that. So I think you just got to put a lot of money up there and say, or this is the champions,
and just let it be its own classic, kind of.
Right. So this is the champions thing, and you can get 4 guys in that, 4 former champions, and then you can do another one, and I think that could work.
Yeah,
because you'd want to watch, because those guys have a sense of the moment. The thing I like about the first Aaron Gordon and Levine was that when he had stuff spinning around on the thing, it changed the geometry and the physics of what we thought about a slam dunk contest, because everything we had seen with a partner or somebody helping you is like holding the ball up or holding it behind your head, or you're jumping over somebody, or they're lobbing it to you,
or just tossing it up. Yeah.
Right. But this dude, he's spinning around. The amount of timing that it takes for that dunk, that might be the best dunk I have ever seen, because the timing that he took to go up with that, curl it, and 360 that thing.
You're right.
Is insane. And here's the thing. He didn't take 2 or 3 chances because he messed up the timing. All of those were first try makes. That's what made that one hands down one of the best. Is first, those weren't, okay, I bounced it wrong, or he spun a little bit too far.
That's a great point, man.
Everything in that
3,
dunk
4,
contest,
5 times.
everything was first take, boom, let's go. And that was the one in Toronto. That's why I remember it so vividly, because I was there. But it was just the excitement, the crowd. And so, but Levine, people say Levine, or he got robbed, but Levine was doing free throw line dunks that Jordan had done, and he was going through his legs or windmilling. So you take the iconic dunks that we revere, and now say, do that thing, but put it through your legs. and all of this is in the same contest with Gordon. That was, you can look at the Dominique and Jordan ones. That one was the best one because of the theater in that one. Even Jordan's free throw
again today.
Even Jordan's free throw line one, he took a couple of times to do it because he had to walk it off, and he was over the free throw line. Levine is over the free throw line, but my man, he windmilled that thing. That's crazy. That's just crazy when you think about it.
Sheesh.
Go watch that thing again.
I am. I'm just sitting here reminiscing right now.
and watch how it's not 3 or 4 takes. They raised the level of that contest to a ridiculous bar of, it's just me and you, and we got 50. Do you know how hard it is when some dude does a 50 and you come back and do another 50, and then he comes back and does another 50?
Yo, we gotta bring that back. Like just to know that those types of guys, that those pedigree of guys, you're not talking about guys who can dunk. You're also talking about guys who, for this dunk competition, said, we don't even want to miss dunks. We don't want to be out here taking 3, 4, 5 times, have to resort to our dunk B or our dunk C or something like that. These were the top of the top. And if you put these guys anywhere near All-Star Weekend in the dunk contest, people are going to tune in. You have no choice. You have absolutely no choice.
And here's what you forget about Aaron Gordon. He's 6'10", and usually 6'10" dudes in a dunk contest just does not work. It doesn't look good. He flew like he was 6'5" or 6'6". You couldn't tell because of his level of athleticism that he was 6'10" and he was doing the stuff that he was doing. That man sat down essentially and put the ball under his legs and came.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. That dunk contest changed everything I thought about dunk contests. Everything. Because I went into that like, I'm not writing anything. We've seen all of the dunks that we're gonna see. This is just an exercise. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Whatever. And as that thing is going on, I'm like, let's go, because
like,
this is Jordan and Dominique-esque, very much so.
Turned it up quick. Oh my word. Hey, Mike, have there been any dunks from the Pistons this year that have gotten you like that, where you like, yo, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's not going to hit the same as a dunk contest dunk, but I believe the Pistons have shown a little bit more athleticism this year, including, I think, Isaiah Stewart catching a few more lobs than a lot of people probably gave him some credit for coming into the season.
Yeah, two come to mind off top, and I would say Jaden Ivey's dunk over Yuta Watanabe from the Knicks.
Yeah, bro, that just boost popped into my head.
Utah's always catching strays. If you look at the dunks of the year of the past probably 3 or 4 years, Utah's in probably half of them.
It's like all of us, as soon as we heard the name, it was just like that guy. Yeah. The poster maker.
Best dunk this year. And then second, I'll say Jalen Duren's alley-oop against Golden State. Because he had to stretch.
Yeah.
That man.
Whew. And it's funny because you picked two dunks that I wasn't even thinking of, man. Like that's how awesome it's been. And I think all the dunks for me have probably been from the rookies. I feel like Stu had a nasty one that it just slips me, man. But I believe he had a couple nice ones as well.
He just
caught a body
out of bounds play from Killian.
Yeah, the oop, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then Duren, he caught our old friend Mason Plumlee, right? He caught him with a nasty body. It was against the Hornets, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that was the one for me. When I saw that one, I was like, yeah, he definitely went to the school of Rasheed Wallace, that dunk every single thing.
Didn't Hami have one? I'm gonna say one, but I know he's had a couple this year too.
Yeah, Hami just had a left-handed windmill. That was
Yep.
I'm laughing because Blaha, dog. Listen. Shout out to JD Sports Tweets. He runs the over-under competition, the Pistons over-under competition. And we said it at 0.5 that George Blaha will call a windmill dunk a windmill. He still hasn't this season. It was a perfect setup, man. And I don't know if he called it a tomahawk jam or throws it down or the dynamite dunk, but he just won't call a windmill.
You're not getting a windmill. You're not getting a windmill.
But he called the tomahawk a windmill. Like no, that, I swear George knows. He knows. You can't.
They're going to have to get him a teleprompter for him to call that a windmill. That's just not a George thing. It's not happening. He's going to have to Ron Burgundy on you and just put it on the prompter and hope it comes across.
Ron Burgundy reference for the win. I love this episode, man. Ron has come back with the Caribbean in his soul.
Refreshed. I've been kissed by the sun.
Hey, I saw you said Customs wouldn't let you bring the sun back with you. I was hoping, man.
Man, it was like 82 degrees and just a nice little Caribbean breeze coming through. And I'm just sitting there like not thinking about the Pistons whatsoever. Not at all.
Like first day of the season being like, as soon as we know Pistons are done, we got to find a spot that Rod went to, man.
Hey, we
got to.
You can hit Haiti. You can hit St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Martin, Puerto Rico.
I like it. I wanted to get you guys' opinions on a few things here. Really just these trade rumors. I don't even know if there's much to them. Obviously, Troy Weaver is setting the price, and some fans are like, they're happy that he's not just, hey, I'm here to take anything. And then there's some fans who are like, what did this guy do to deserve to be rated as an unprotected first round pick? Uh, or why does this person need to be able to have a first round pick plus an unprotected player, or plus another player added to him to be able to trade for him? And so I wanted to be able to get you all's perspectives. To me, it's not looking like it's a high possibility these guys will get traded. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I know, Rod, you said at the beginning of the season, expect a couple trades, and that was before the Bojan one. And so that was the first. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a second. But just the way that things are looking, I've seen Sadiq Bey, and Bojan Bogdanovic, they seem to work a little bit better together. Since Dwayne Casey made that remark of changing Sadiq Bey's offensive focus to take better advantage of his catch and shoot and putting him in his position to shoot more from his hot zones, he told him, I know Mike was in that press conference too. He told him, he said that he told Sadiq Bey, just stop the dribbles. When you catch the ball, just put it up because it's what you're good at. And then when he said he was like 50% from the corners on catch and shoot, it was just like, yeah, let's put him more in those positions. It kind of goes along with what I saw every single game. I walk in, going over the media, to the media room where they have the most amazing spread of food. Rod was not lying, y'all. But you see Sadiq Bey taking those corner shots, and it's just splash, 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 splash. And Rod, we've talked about this before. In those warm-ups, he's catching, shooting, and it's just like clockwork, man. And so it's been awesome to see them kind of put him more in positions to be able to take better advantage of that. And it's been working out. And so now I'm starting to see these guys can work. Alec Burks, Sadiq Bey, Bojan Bogdanovic, all of these guys need the ball in their hands, but all of these guys have shown a propensity to be able to catch and shoot the ball well. And I think that they are finding, at least offensively, some great success in it, shooting well over 40% over the last few games. It's been crazy, but Mike, I'll go to you first, man. Is there anything pertinent about Bey, Bojan or Burks as it relates to the trades, or is it going to be almost as bullish as last year's trade deadline with Troy Weaver holding firm to what he values his players as?
Yeah, it's interesting because with Bojan, you have first of all, he's your leading scorer without Cade. So if you trade him away right now for unprotected first round pick, you're not going to get much production on the offensive end for the rest of the season. We saw what they've been able to do kind of while he's been sidelined with the calf injury, and it hasn't been pretty. I think it's been like a total team effort to replace that offensive production that he brings. But I know you talked about Sadiq. It's funny that you mentioned Dwayne Casey talking about his transition from dribbling to just standing in the corner and just shooting threes, because I remember 2 games ago, he had a really bad travel. He pump faked from the corner, took a couple dribbles, and he ended up traveling when he tried to just lay the ball up. And he was so upset. Hamidou Diallo had to come over. I think Hami was having a really good game that game. So he was smiling. He was patting him on the chest. And I think he was just telling him, it's okay. It's okay. Just play your game, maybe. But after that point, I noticed Sadiq had made 3 consecutive threes. And I don't know if that was the spark that he needed, but ever since, he's kind of been in the zone from beyond the arc. So I think Sadiq is starting to kind of find his way now that he has that responsibility to just go out there and shoot and let it fly.
Yeah. I'm glad that they've kind of figured that out, because, I don't believe you trade a guy like Sadiq Bey right now unless it's something that's going to significantly push your franchise forward. With it just, and that's just my opinion, with what he's showing, with the improvements he's shown. And a lot of us, Rod, we talked about this since the beginning of the season. Expect Sadiq Bey, who's notoriously a slow starter, to start slow. But we said that he was trying to add some new aspects to his game to be able to better circumvent that. So while the 3-point shot wasn't there, we could see that Sadiq Bey was career high in free throw attempts, leading the team in free throw rate, getting into the paint, and showing improvement as it goes along. We've seen other players here in the past say that they're working on things and they go out there and they try to show it in the game, but we don't really see that improvement as the season goes along. We've seen Sadiq Bey become somebody who I'm not worried when I see him going to the paint at all. There was a time, like last year when I know he was working on things, when we were like, all right, he's working on things. but the type of guy he is, and Rod, you've continued to kind of beat this drum. He just continues to improve. And as that 3-point shot has improved, the whole rest of his game now, it's almost like the glue to the rest of his game. It just looks like, wow, now Sadiq Bey is back. I would like to say that Sadiq Bey, though he's had some up and downs this year, throughout the course of the season, he's rebounded better. He's had some good assist games. He's shot the ball, obviously, as of late, better, but he's been great at getting to the free throw line and helping his team get into the bonus faster. I don't before that, I don't know who was really out there drawing fouls like that. It was like Sadiq Bey early on and nobody else getting to the free throw line. And so I don't know. When I look at those small nuances to the game and then you see what he is when that 3-point shot comes, it's like, whoa. I mean, who are we trading him for exactly?
Yeah, and you got to look at his personality type. Is when you tell somebody like Sadiq, hey, I want you to improve on this or work on this, he's going to be, if for a dude that you have to tell to stay out of the gym, he's going to go and work on, hey, my handles need to be better. I need to drive a little bit more. I need to create a little bit more. I need to do a lot of other things. And when you're really good as a 3-point shooter, sometimes you step out of that and start doing other things, and it takes away from what you're really good at. Dwayne always talks about keeping your day job. Don't forget your day job. Do this. Be a 3-point shooter. But now let's add in these other pieces. You've got to find that balance and look at the numbers and say, how many corner threes am I taking now? How much do I drive? How much do I get to the free throw line? And find a balance in all of those things. But don't forget your day job of being an excellent 3-point shooter. And he's added the post stuff. He's added so many pieces to his game. And people want him to continue to diversify that. But you still got to be that 3-point shooter. And I think that's what people may be disappointed about the most is that he's not this. We've always known him to be this. Let's get him back to doing that. Well, he's got to do some of these other things too. The thing with Bojan is what we saw with unlocking Cade was he needed that top tier scorer that could shoot from three, that could drive, that could create, that could do whatever, who didn't necessarily need the ball in his hands to be effective on ISOs. That's what we saw from Jeremy last year is Cade can be effective with him, but he needs a lot. Jeremy needed the ball a lot in his hands, and that takes away some of Cade's effectiveness when you do that. So I like the blend that Bojan and Cade have when they're both healthy, or when Cade's healthy, certainly. But it is going to be in the future, how do you make those guys gel together? And if you're talking about trading either one of those guys, then you're breaking up that chemistry and you're making Cade have to work a little bit harder to do the things that he's really effective at and he's really good at. So the trade talk is going to be there all the way through as we're getting into deadline time. And you're going to hear guys, and a lot of that stuff is just blather. It doesn't really mean anything when you're saying Stan Van Gundy. I always refer back to this. Stan Van Gundy used to say, if you call and say, hey, I'll give you a 2nd-round pick for LeBron, and the Lakers say no. Well, you've had a trade discussion about LeBron, but you don't see those types of rumors always get out there. So that's the thing, is you're going to hear people call, and that's a due diligence thing on any general manager, is to say, hey, I made a call. I tried to see if this guy was available. Some of those calls are going to get out there, and some of those things are going to be there, and some not.
Yeah, it's funny because the teams that are being reported, those are playoff contenders and championship excuse me.
Yeah.
Those are championship contenders, and their first-round picks might not be anywhere near the level that the Pistons probably need, which they're going to be like low first round. So that's the thing I'm kind of interested in seeing how it's going to play out, just which teams are going to be in the mix for certain players, because I know a lot of these championship contenders are looking to pry Bojan away from Detroit, looking to get a scorer like Alec Burks, and I'm not sure if Detroit is trying to let them go without getting something in return.
Right. You're not calling Troy with some terrible deal and he's going to accept it. He's in a position of strength where, look, y'all trying to make the playoffs. Y'all trying to make a come up, but you're going to pay for it if you want Bojan, because we have him now at a reasonable contract for the next couple of years. So that was the question I had. Whose first round pick are we talking about? So there can be, you can say the Lakers, you can say some of these other teams, and they can do a 3-way deal and bring in somebody else's first round pick to this discussion also. But so, yeah, the Lakers first round pick might not be anything to be excited about. Some of the other ones you can get a little bit more, but don't rule out that third team coming into play and saying, we'll give you an unprotected in whatever year it's going to be. And remember, the Pistons don't need another first round pick this year. If they're going to get let's call it a top 5 this year, they don't need another lottery pick. You don't need more young guys to add into this mix. And that's why I don't put a lot of credence in the Bojan stuff, is that's a vet who scores and compliments Cade better than just about anybody else on your roster. You need more of those guys, not to be getting rid of the one that you just got for almost nothing.
Yeah, I forgot who stated that. Oh my goodness, I wish I remember who quoted that. But when they stated that, Bojan was brought here, in part to make life easier on Cade, it was just like, that makes sense. Not that you make anybody an untouchable, because you always want to look at what you can do to make your team better. So it's interesting. I'm glad that you're parsing, Rod, and as well, Mike. What is out there? What first round pick do you want? What actually moves the Pistons forward in their restoration? Because Troy has shown he's not going to be sped up or slowed down. He's not making a deal just to make a deal. We've heard weird rumors over the years that now that we know Troy, we recognize that's not even Troy's MO. We've shot down things, over the last year, Rod, where we're just like, yeah, that's not even his MO. There's been things that we recognize when first half of deals or things that look a certain way, and you're like, no, just be patient because this is how Troy is going to play things out. And so for Pistons fans, definitely be comfortable knowing that Troy Weaver is not going to allow himself to get fleeced or this organization, not based on the track record that he's shown.
Let me say this. Tell me one time that you've heard about a trade leaked that Troy made before it happened. There isn't one. So all of the stuff that's out here about Bojan for this or this or this or that, maybe he's setting the price and setting the market. But if you hear Bojan for this player, for that player, that's not coming from Troy, because you never hear about Troy trades until they happen or they're almost done.
And they're usually a lot more lopsided in his favor than the reports.
None of these feel like Troy trades to me of stuff that you've seen out here. So Bojan for an unprotected first, that might just be, hey, here's the price tag. When you go into a store and you turn the price tag and you say, okay, I can do that or I can't do that, or you're thinking about it. Sometimes you take it off the rack and put it up against your chest and trying to see, okay, can I do this? But that's not Troy. Troy's not looking at anybody's first round pick in this draft to say, hey, that's something. I mean, unless it's Orlando's, but they're in the same position. Unless you're getting another lottery pick that gives you another reasonable chance to get to Victor, then you're not dancing with that. So yeah. I think that's what we're talking about. Who's first round pick, but it needs to be a lottery because you want to give yourself even those other 2% of a chance to get to Victor.
Yeah. The funniest thing, and Mike, I'm sure you've seen these reports too. The funniest thing is, like, first it was like, oh yeah, they're going to trade Bojan. There's no need for him to have Bojan. Then he sets the price. Then all of a sudden reports are, well, teams are now just calling about Saddiq Bey. He's going to trade Saddiq Bey. And then it's like, he sets the price. Then it was like, well, Alec Burks? No, we want Alec Burks too. But here's the price. And honestly, he's continued to keep the price consistent for all of these guys. I don't know what first round pick, you know how he's valuing them, because not all first round picks are the same. But I like the fact that he's holding firm. To me, at least it speaks to the fact that he likes who he has here. It's the character of guys that he has. It's the guys that he's picked. These aren't guys, obviously he's turned this roster over, but it's guys that he's Saddiq Bey he picked. Obviously Alec Burks he traded for, Bojan Bogdanovic he traded for and then extended. So I'm glad that he's comfortable with the guys he's bringing in enough to say, you know what, this is how I value them. Even with Killian Hayes, we said when they, went on ahead and pushed the button on all of their contracts, we're like, man, he's going to have to prove some stuff. But maybe he's showing belief in Killian Hayes. And Killian Hayes, despite what ups and downs we've seen in an NBA magnitude, historically bad start to the season, they continued to stay persistent and consistent with Killian Hayes. They continued to say it wasn't about the skill, it's more about, kind of up here. We know he has it, and they continued to push, and he's honestly proven their faith. I'm looking all over the internet. We've done polls, we've done articles, we've put up graphics, we've asked the questions. We can't find Killian Hayes haters anymore. We can't find them. I mean, just Mike, you let me know. I'm sure you've gotten emails and all that. I'm sure Rod is like he's glad he's washed his hands of this.
I still get him. I still get him. I still get him.
What? And we'll close on this. I have one more thing after this. That'll be quick. But what's been your perspective on this whole Killian Hayes turnaround as it relates to what you've seen fans and observers talk about, or at least reach out to you about?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you've literally seen two versions of one player.
Mm-hmm.
He started the year pretty bad. He didn't have any confidence. He didn't want to shoot the ball. He didn't look like he just fit Detroit's offensive. He just didn't look like he fit on Detroit's offense. He was providing defense, but on the offensive end, he just didn't like he had it. Yeah. But after that Boston game, I think it was Boston, first Boston game in Boston. He said he flipped the switch. He knows what he has to do. He just has to go out there and do it. Now that told me that it is 100% mental and confidence, and I just have to. Sorry about that. And yeah, I think in recent months, he's been coming out with that same confidence. He's shooting the ball at an extremely high clip, or at least higher than what it was. He's making that he's making the 3-point shot, but he's also kind of automatic from the mid-range too, which gives you reason to just think that he's going to be okay offensively. And most of all, he's still getting his teammates involved. He's averaging 5.7 assists, which is right around where you want to be if you're a backup point guard in the league. And if this Killian Hayes comes back next year and you pair that with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, you got a pretty good backcourt group right there.
Yeah, that's going to be a cold 3-guard rotation. We talked about wanting to see that coming into this year. And honestly, with the improvements Killian has made, along with the fact that Jaden Ivey has answered our questions, he's shown he can play make. Obviously, he has to get the turnovers under control. But if he kind of tweaks that, learns to play a little bit more under control with that speed, gets those turnovers under control as well, this is going to be something very, very fun, because I think people forgot what Cade Cunningham was. And this is going to lead to the close. Cade had a 4 or 5 game stretch, where he was averaging about 28 points. Like 28 points, almost 9 rebounds, and like 8 assists per game. And then there was a string of games where there were rumors or things like that coming out that he might be hurt. The numbers kind of fluctuated, and then he had that one Boston game with the 4 points. And I did get the opportunity to talk to his brother Cannon, who said, Cade was fuming about that. Like, he wanted to go back out and play. He really wanted to go back out and play. He's been dealing with this. We saw the reports from Vince Ellis. He's been dealing with this since he was a kid, the shins. And he really, really felt like, he wanted to put on for the city this year. He felt like he knew exactly what he had to do to have a great season. And I know people tried to say that he was having a slow start. And I know, again, had to do with the shooting numbers from outside the arc, from behind the 3-point line. But overall, everything else that Cade Cunningham was doing was on point. 6-6 on the season. Mm-hmm. That was a step forward that we wanted to see, Rod. We said, could he get to 25-5 on the year, like when he was averaging post All-Star break? And I remember the comments, and I remember what people were saying. Nah, he's not that. He's not that. He's not that. We asked, could he be a star? Could he get to these averages? We haven't had a guy like this in a long time, in a very long time. And he was there. And it was interesting to me because since he's been gone, we only get these glimpses of who Cade Cunningham is. We get it. We get these glimpses of him on the bench. We see him supporting his teammates, especially since he's been back from surgery. But and for me personally, I've gotten to see him and interact with him in press conferences. But that's been kind of the limit. This last game that they had before Paris, He was walking down the corridor, Mike, where we go for the press conferences, when we come out, and the Players Club is kind of right there as well. He was walking and just stopped. He had a boxes full of things, put some things down, and they were just fans. Obviously, you could see him through the glass. And he just stopped, man, and took pictures with everybody who asked. Everybody who asked, just talking to them. And I was talking to some of the fans who got to meet him. And they were just like, man, yo, this is what he does every game. Like, this one guy was like, yo, I sit up here like every single game. He's at every game that he's here, he's signing autographs for kids. He's getting them other autographs. So I know we all know about the story of the Jaden Ivey one, where they were in Indiana and he went and got these Purdue fans their Jaden Ivey jerseys signed. But I'm being told, by these other fans, no, he does stuff like this all the time.
All the time.
All the time. We know about the stuff he did for Christmas. And it was interesting because I sat there and I was like, I wanted to get an update from him personally. And I was like, no, he was here for a long time. I was like, man, I'm waiting. I got my wife and kid in the arena. I'm like, sheesh, he's taking too long, man. It's like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And I know he had to go for Paris. And then he looks at me when he's all done. He looked at the people. He's like, is that everybody? They were like, yep. All right. And so I'm like, man, let me just sneak around him into the Players Club and just hey, bid you adieu, and just, hey, I hope your recovery is going well. And he looked at me, he just put his stuff down. He's like, I know you, man. I was like, first and foremost, all right, what, the fan of me, keep it down. This is professional.
Yeah, always.
And I stopped and looked at him and I said, I want to be able to get just anything to just put on socials, Woodward Sports or whatnot. He said, you know what? No solo stuff, man. That's not even me. I don't really want to do solo stuff. I'll do something for you. If you're in a picture, let's post that. And it struck me different, man, because it was just like, that was my first personal interaction with Cade Cunningham beyond the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just interesting to see, because I've seen him even interact with fans. I haven't gotten to see that much. When we hit those arenas, we're all around doing a bunch of different things. And so, Mike, I want to just share my experience with Cade Cunningham. I know you've had a different or a more unique experience with Cade Cunningham as well. What is your perspective on who he is as a person? I know, Rod, you were chiming in too on the things that you probably noticed Cade Cunningham do as a Detroit Piston as well, being able to interact, to give back, enrich communities both here in Detroit as well as in Texas. What's been your perspective, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think Cade is everything you want in a star player or a franchise player right now. Especially in his second year in the league, he's always willing to go above and beyond for fans. He has that personality. He's appearing in these commercials for Just Egg, and they're pretty funny. He's playing well on the court when he is healthy. I remember my first interaction was actually a preseason game in New York. And I just introduced myself, said I'm going to be covering the team. I'm taking Rod Beard's place. And he just welcomed me to the beat. And it was like a genuine interaction, just like you said. And he asked me where I was from and this, that, and the third. But after a while, you get used to guys doing that. So as the beat writer, you see these guys every day. And then it just becomes repetitive. Like, what's up, Mike? What's going on? How you doing? And it just blooms from there. So right. I'm looking forward to seeing him back on the court, seeing him back doing what he loves. It's cool to have that interaction. Okay,
that's the truth, man. Like, as basketball fans, it's just like, I like seeing him play the game of basketball, man, and seeing him absolutely come in as a rookie and then a second-year player. And having stars like DeMar DeRozan saying, no, I love his game. Like he is next level. Rod, any last words before I close up here?
No, just I'll give you two things. One, we were on the road somewhere, and there's a kid with a Cade jersey on. And he was I think it was pregame warmups, and he was behind the bench. And he was trying to come down, and the security guard was like about to grab this little kid. He might have been like 8 or something. Security guard was about to grab him, and he like stopped him, like right there, stay right there. And he wanted to go see Cade. Cade went around the bench and went around the back and got the kid, like signed his jersey, and was like, the kid was with his mom. He was like, always listen to your mom and respect your mom. I love that. And like, talk to him. That doesn't happen. I mean, for a player to say, here's my zone on the court, Cade went around that and went and told the security guard, it's good. I want to interact with these kids. Talk to the mom, talk to the kid, told him. And we're just sitting there like, this isn't real. This isn't even a real dude. So the other one is at All-Star Weekend, he had this appearance that he was doing for Top Shot for the card thing. So they have people lined up all around the thing. And I'm just coming to just kind of hang out and see if I could get a couple of words in him and spend some time for a few minutes. He's like, Rod, come on. But behind the thing. So we're just sitting there, and while he's trying to get set up, we're sitting there chopping it up. He's signing and interacting with every kid that's there. Every kid. It wasn't just, hey, here's a signature, move on. Sign your card, move on. It was a genuine interaction. What sport do you play? What do you do? Who's your favorite player? And with that, it's a scripted. Oh, it's Cade Cunningham. You're my favorite player. If they said somebody else, he's like, cool, I like that dude too. He's just he's a real one. Up, he's not struck by the stardom to say that he's going to be different and he's trying to be like a LeBron or like a somebody else. He's just happy to be there. And it's so genuine and it comes across in so many ways. You can see when cats are faking it and they're just kind of whatever. Okay, when this thing is over, when my 1 hour of signing things is over, get me back to the limo and let's go back so I can go sit in the jacuzzi or do whatever. Cade stayed beyond his time that he needed to. He stayed until like everybody's stuff was signed and then sat in and we just kept talking for another little bit. He didn't care about what time he needed to be somewhere else or to do whatever. He wanted to make sure that everybody else was taken care of. And then after the Rising Stars game, he had done his stuff, his media stuff. Then he was talking to me and to Mark Spears for another like 5 or 10 minutes because he wanted you're local, you're my local beat guy. You came all the way here to see me. You get a little bit more time to talk about whatever. And he gets that. He understands you didn't, not everybody else is here. You're here. You made a special effort. You know what? You're getting more time. I'm gonna take some time with you. I'm gonna do a video with you. And you said he doesn't like to do a lot of solo stuff. I'm gonna do a video because this is my moment. He recognizes all of that stuff around him, and he has a different type of self-awareness that you don't see with a lot of guys.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And it's cool hearing that perspective from people who've covered the game, so you know that it's not that other people aren't nice and aren't outgoing. It's that Cade Cunningham almost makes it a practice or a living habit of just being that so much more. And it's cool that we have that guy in Detroit. That guy. We've had other guys here who they've played, but they might not have connected as well as he's attempting. But guys, I'm grateful for you all being on. This is awesome. Welcome back, Rod. I'm gonna do the closing now.
Good to be.
But this was awesome. Thank you, Mike Curtis of the Detroit News, the Pistons beat writer. And listen, we're gonna get on this court and some pregame stuff and get some content going soon as well. It's gonna be cool. Yeah. But all right, you guys, look, for the Woodward Pistons podcast, for Jeff Freddie, Mr. Everything, for Mike Curtis. My name is Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid. And look, we're gonna get this drum roll going. Hey, yo, shout out to the legend, Detroit News Rod Beard. It was great to have you back on this week, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
All right, fellas.
Take it easy.